Hey, Facebook and Instagram, social media land, and YouTube. You're watching this inevitably on YouTube. Join me while I clean my kitchen and talk about the overuse of social media. So this is what was just going through my mind, and these are the sorts of things that I muse upon while doing life stuff, and this was one of the things. Well, I think this is one of the things that has come up with some one-to-one work that I've been doing recently with a client who just before she started receiving support from me, she had stepped right back from Facebook for her mental health, and she spent a lot less time whilst doing receiving the creative life support and learning to love stuff that we've been going through, with much less time on Facebook, on social media. Trying to open an essential oil with one hand, I don't think it's going to work. I may have to put you down. So now you can see my crazy chaotic kitchen. So yeah, I was here, I'm cleaning my kitchen, washing pots, and was reflecting on my own journey with social media and my own journey with housework and life, and looking at things like where I use social media to procrastinate the life stuff that is actually kind of fundamentally important. And yeah, washing up before bed being one of those things that I end up procrastinating and then cursing in the morning because I walk in and there's still pots piled in the sink that shouldn't really be there, and that being really irritating, and thinking, what is it my evening that actually takes me away from that? And it's not gonna lie, it has been social media for a long time that has taken me away from that side of things. And it got me thinking, and what I want to share is a little bit of truth and a little bit of it might upset some people, it might trigger some people, it might be a little bit of a reminder, or it might be exactly what you need to hear right now in this moment, that helps you to stop procrastinating, support your mental emotional health, support your well-being, and get off social media. And I know it's always crazy that I share stuff about creating boundaries with social media on social media, but it's kind of the place where you need to see it and you need to hear it and you need to learn about it, because that is where you are. Like, that's where you are. So the thoughts that I have around social media as I'm here washing some pots were like, everybody I know who complains about being short of time, being disorganized, not getting enough done, not being successful enough in business, not being not having time for the little ones, being stressed out, being anxious, triggered by world events. Everybody, I think, that I know, that maybe one or two not, who've maybe already taken steps that way and maybe are seeing improvement, but everyone I know has some kind of unhealthy attachment to social media. And I'm the first one to put my hand up and say I have been there. I have believed that I had to have social media to run a business. I have believed that it was the only way to be seen and get noticed and be out there. And it's not. If you run a business, don't rely on social media. If you have a creative livelihood, don't rely on social media. Following over boxes that are waiting to go out with the recycling tomorrow. Yeah, we don't need social media. We've kind of been conned and tricked into thinking that we do, and they're never taught how to use it properly. And so I do have a process called social mindful awareness, which is like social media detox, or helping create healthy relationships with social media, because there are ways to develop a healthy relationship with social media, because there are things that it's good for. It's good for connecting you with like-minded people. It's good for keeping track of local events that you want to go to. As a home educating mum, all the home educating stuff is on there. As a support and moderator for home education groups, I spend some time on there. I do have connections for Indigo Sky Holistic on there. I have a Facebook page, I have my Instagram account, I have my own private profile, mostly public, but I have a private profile where I can share things only with close friends. And I think one of the things that we're not taught about social media, and most people don't even know, is there are ways to curate your feed. There are irritating things that that Facebook does, particularly where it sticks up loads of suggestions and suggested posts and follow this page and follow that, and they can be a little bit upsetting. I just like click the cross on all of them. They show up most on when I'm using Facebook as my page, and there's like, because I only follow about 10 accounts from Indigo Sky Holistic's page, like, it's got to fill my feed with something. It's like it can't just fill my feed with all the people that I'm following. And sometimes I'm like, where do you even get that this is what I want to see from what I'm following? Like, I'm following spiritual pages, or I'm following holistic health pages, or I'm following local businesses. Why the hell are you showing me some politician from, I don't know, America? Or some like controversial debate from somewhere, or some celebrity that I'm literally not interested in. So it is about just scrolling on by and clicking any crosses that you come across that you can, unfollowing people, snoozing people. A snooze button was the best thing I think Facebook ever invented. I'm not gonna lie. I've used the snooze button a lot over the years, just to snooze people for a month, just because I'm not interested in the content they're sharing. There'll be a political situation, or there'll be a global situation, and I'm just like, you know what, this isn't my vibe anymore, or this is not my vibe at all, or this is not my political struggle, and that is not. There are some political struggles I do actually stay aware of and don't snooze people who share. Just going to put that out there, because there are some political situations that I stay aware of. So yeah. Curate your feed, but also, so this client who removed Facebook from her phone. And she's just been a shining example to me of what happens when you do that, along with the work that she's done with me. Really spending time with the things that are way, way, way more important than social media. And I think this is, for me, that all along this has been what I've said about social media, and about a lot of things, is that social media is a distraction from what's important. It's a distraction from our inner voices. It's a distraction from our healing. It's a distraction from our creativity. It's a distraction from what's inside us. It's a very useful distraction when you've got trauma going on and you want to ignore it. It's really, really useful. And I think that's why a lot of people fall into the addictive tendency trap, because you've got some shit event happened in your life and social media just takes you away from that. You fall into the belief of finding a support group, which is great. There are some amazing support groups, but then you fall into the other side of social media and things that it's interesting because things that Facebook did that helped with curating what you saw. So I don't know if anyone remembers the Facebook groups app. I love the Facebook groups app because that was all I used. I went to Facebook groups app and I just went in the groups that I was interested in and cared about, and that was how I used Facebook. And I think they got onto that. I think they got onto that people weren't scrolling the feed anymore because people use Facebook for support groups. People use Facebook for groups that are relevant to their life. They use Facebook for groups for creating livelihoods, for business support, for self-employment reasons. And I think Facebook got onto that because less people were scrolling the feed and less clicks through on ads from there is less money in their pockets, because the Facebook groups app disappeared and was replaced within the Facebook app with the groups tab. And that, I don't know, I don't find that as, it doesn't, well, so it just takes you into all your groups, and that's not what I want. I don't want to go in all my groups. There's a lot of groups that I don't follow because I'm not interested in the 600 billion posts that are posted in the local groups every day, complaining about parking issues or complaining about the neighbours, or it's like, and there are probably ways to curate the groups feed slightly better too. Leaving groups is good. So in the last year to 18 months, I've left a lot of Facebook groups. I've unfollowed a lot. I've unliked a lot of pages, unfollowed a lot of people, and unfriended a fair few as well. And I think that's the key to healthy use of social media, and doing things like removing the app from your phone is a really beneficial way to curtail your time. I've got other friends who deactivate their account. There's all sorts of reasons why I no longer encourage deactivating. I know it really helps people in moments, but when I deactivated my Facebook account start last year, I think it was, just because it felt right. And a brand new Facebook page that I'd created for Indigo Sky Holistic disappeared because I deactivated my account and didn't have another admin, didn't have another account that I could use to admin it, didn't know it'd go because I've got other pages. I've got 2 other pages that are old that I've used. One is still active and one is not. So one is the original Davina Ketson Holistic Health page, so that is just closed down. It's private, no one can see it, no one can find it. I have access to it so I can get content off it. And then my Indigo Sky to Knit page is still active as Indigo Sky to Knit, just in case one day I resurrect that creative pursuit. And I was really irritated that I deactivated my account and that my brand new page disappeared. So I fell out with deactivation, and I also think it's a cover up for, it makes it easy to not go on Facebook, which doesn't deal with the underlying reasons why we overuse it. And that for me was what I realised other times that I've deactivated was like, oh, it's great, like, yeah, I'm not using Facebook, that's great, it's amazing. It's because I can't use Facebook because it's inactive. And then I go back on and the trap is it seemed more powerful. It's a bit like yo-yo dieting, it seemed more powerful to get caught up in the Facebook doom scroll. So this is mostly to say, in an evening, here I am now, it's mostly just to say, become aware of where you're using social media and then complaining later on in the evening, the next day, about not having time for XYZ. Because I do think a lot of the reason why we sit and scroll social media is because it gives us something else to do with our hands. And I've got a small person biting my hand behind my phone. Having been really looking at this idea of rest over the course of the last couple of months, it's a restful activity. It's something that we feel like we're getting that relaxation time, but have a chance of doing something else. We might be able to support people, we might be able to send messages to people, we might be able to feel a little bit more useful. Because one of the things that's repeatedly come up whilst looking into this rest, this deep, nourishing learning to rest ourselves, is that we feel like we're not doing enough when we're resting. And the whole point, the rest, surrender, trust process, the first stage of it, the whole point I'm teaching through that is we have to let go of this idea that rest is wrong. We have to let go of that, because rest is so vitally important to life. Rest is life. Rest is life. And when we rest, we nourish ourselves at such a deep level. And that is it's so necessary. And I think there's so much crazy energetics and global stuff going on at the moment that we need that nourishing rest. And a lot of things like social media, the TV videos, as much as I'm knocking social media much more than I'm knocking TV videos, whatever. I really am. But a lot of that is, we use that because we feel wrong for just stopping and doing nothing and staring out the window or staring into the fire or doing nothing. And I think there's so much we can learn for ourselves by learning the art of doing nothing. And that is like the reason why rest is the first thing I'm taking people through rest, surrender, trust, is because we literally have to learn how to rest. And when we rest, we slow down our nervous system, and we can bring moments of rest into more of our everyday life, and find rest in things like washing the pots. And now I understand more and more as I get older. I understand more and more why my dad became like the washer-upper in the house, because it was more like a meditative practice for him than work. And I think, maybe this is where I'm like need to shift things for myself with relation to housework. What feels like the only thing that feels hard or work like to me these days is things in the house to declutter and or clear and tidy space in the house. And maybe there is some element of either fun or meditation that I can bring to that, because I do know that when I really get into washing the pots, I do have like these inspirations and ideas that come to me. So yeah, ditch your social media, deepen into rest, come and join me for Rest, Surrender, Trust, to learn how to do that and begin to find ways where other things in your life are taking you away from deep, nourishing self-care, because that's what's happening. And social media, deep, nourishing self-care is facing some of those things in our head that we're distracting ourselves from when we overuse social media. So there were just my little evening musings for today. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're on YouTube, do those good things that YouTube likes. But yeah, let me know what you think, your thoughts are on this, and I'll drop some more juicy stuff in another time. Bye.